This conference will now be recorded.
Yep. Oh, yeah, I have
And he has to do it. That's what he likes it or not.
Okay, so that's all it's there. If you look at the backyard, so multiple parts of she.
I think I know.
There's no way to open it up with all these.
I said, I think I know who came up with it. Now I see it's up. All right.
They all got little pumpkins. You gotta fight them.
If you see the camera rig, I guess we'll understand.
Yeah.
Morning.
No, you got 3 minutes. Which is so proper.
Good. No, they still.
Apparently.
They're all. We're talking. Guess not.
No, that was yeah, it's just. Yeah, it's just when you start. Force us to go to the next junction. Coupling would have worked, it just shattered. I actually got a section. Yeah, but it was nothing based on what he was doing or what we were doing. I didn't tell you, so it's like, it's just.
Yeah.
I still like it. I know.
I agree with you.
Get the information.
Call this meeting to order. Start with the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All supervisors are in attendance, therefore we have a quorum. At the announcements, next regular meeting of the Board of Supervisors will take place Tuesday, November 28, 2023 at 9 a.m. at the Community Center, 3500 Edgewater Drive, Sebring, Florida. Please silence or turn off your cell phone. Key upcoming events, we have the Advent Celebrity Golf Tournament this November 6th, the LGA Scramble Tournament November 8th. The district office will be closed in observance of Veterans Day on November 10th. The Citrus Golf Trail Open is the 13th through the 15th of November. The MGA Quad Tournament will be 16th and 17th of November, along with Just for Girls Tournament with 16th and 17th of November. The district office will be closed Thanksgiving observance, the 23rd and 24th of November. And the MGA Round Robin Golf Tournament is scheduled for the 27th, 29th, 30th of November. Now, time for public comments on anything other than what's on the action agenda or the consent agenda. The consent agenda, you can ask about. The action agenda, we'll wait until that such time as it's being acted on. Do we have any public comment? Moving ahead, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, any public comments? Already given an opportunity.
I don't know if I should bring it up now or not, but I do have a question on the treasurer's report. Can I
I'll bring it up under board. Call the vote.
Supervisor Phillips?
Yes.
Supervisor Brooks?
Yes.
Supervisor Gilpin?
Yes.
Supervisor Norton?
Yes.
President Herrick?
Yes. Scott Kirk contacted me this morning. He will not be in attendance this morning. He didn't have any new items. We'll have to get with him on items that we may have had for him. Next is the action agenda. We need a motion to designate Melissa Dahl as our, excuse me, as our board secretary.
Motion to approve. Second.
Any board discussion? Public comment? Call the vote.
Supervisor Brooks? Supervisor Gilpin?
Yes.
Supervisor Norton?
Yes.
Supervisor Phillips?
Yes.
President Herrick?
Yes. Next is a discussion on the pending street speed tables for San Ignacio Drive.
Yes, sir. So your packet, you have the map that shows where we did the additional speed table or speed tracking devices alongside Ignacio after our last board meeting. I've included this is the actual report that our machine produces rather than me trying to rework the numbers. So as you see here, it still falls. If you look at the report in the packet, when you see the above the speed limit towards the right on the first page, you'll see a column with the number of cars and percentages, and then a total. So in the example there was one of our trackings was at 7%, we're above the speed limit. Another tracking was at 9%, 9.24% above the speed limit. And then the third tracking was at 13.74% above the speed limit. Speed limit there is 25 miles an hour. Even with those three addressing speed checks that we have done and the amount of cars, we are still recommending no speed table be installed for that area. We'll monitor it. We have security driving there more often. We're responding to any citizens that call and say there's someone speeding down the road. But it's still meeting not the gate. The gate is usually in the 20 to 25% range. If you're above that, then you are warranting a speed bump, speed table. But since all these are still falling in the, on average, in the 9 or 10% range, it doesn't warrant the cost. We're recommending no table installs.
Any board discussion?
I agree.
I agree too. Any public comment? Item C, discussion on the waste treatment plant, the way ahead and the finance planning. There is no motion, there was no action to be had.
Yeah, we don't recommend it's done, it's on file, we don't no vote needed.
No action to take. And then, okay, discussion on the wastewater treatment plant, the way ahead and the planning and the financial plan.
Okay, again, in your packet, there's a little bit more data than we're going to discuss. The focus here is to just give you a clearer understanding of the financial aspect of this. Basically, we're at a point with the DEP where we've answered all their questions, specifically on the request, but now they're asking more on the financial side and what our commitment would be. So no change in the concept, the need for a plant. As we continue to work the numbers after our public comment session, which was very well attended and good feedback before and after the meeting, we're reworking the numbers to make sure it meets the requirement that we have to provide in addition to the funding. At the time, in your packet, you'll see, the assumptions. So what came out of the public session meeting, as well as what came out of since then in our discussion with DEP and others, in red is the changes from what you have seen previously. So here we did accounts, our water and wastewater accounts. We had a very aggressive growth. We reeled that back to 18% over 10 years. That's really conservative, because we're averaging now 250 a year new accounts that we're growing. I reeled that back over a 10-year window to make sure we're not overstepping ourselves. The 10% of accounts that would be in arrears, we changed that numerics on that. This would be the people that either don't pay or go into foreclosure, or we either write off. It's a higher number, about $300,000 that we would be accepting as a loss in totality. That's really just works out towards the end. And then for the life of the loan, the 20-year period, even when you do an assessment, even when you do the money from the loan and the current operations money that would go to feed the loan, we're still finding the need, because of the immensity of the loan, it's going to be closer to a $55 million loan. There will still be a need for boards in the future, in that 20-year window, that we as a district would have to invest $2 million additional. That's to stay in the green. So it doesn't have to all be 1 year. It could be $100,000 every year that we put into the fund. But when you work the numbers out, you'll see it on the slides after this. There would still be a commitment on the district's part that they've assessed people. We've got the loan, and then as the loan plays out, the district will have to have an additional investment over the 20 years of $2 million. And that's just how the numbers come out. There's no way to do that. A way that number could reduce, obviously, we get more money from the accounts. We get more money from the investment income from the money that's sitting in the reserves for this project. And when we have $25 million sitting in a bank account, that's going to grow a lot of interest. So if those numbers tick up higher, that number goes down. All right, so that's the guy. Whoever's in our seats will have to be doing that balancing act, moving forward, to see that, those numbers.
Is the 55 million in totality, including our prep work, the new piping to get down to the new plant,
55 is just for the plant.
just the plant?
Plant and site prep of the plant.
Right.
Anything to connect, and one correction, it does include the one connection pipe from the new plant all the way down Schumacher up to the old plant, the force main that will take all the waste there.
Okay.
So that is included in the 55. But all the internal workings of Cortez, Sun Lake Boulevard, anything else is on us. And that's the above 55 million number. Okay. So, yes, sir.
That does not include any grants that we may get.
No, that's the straight 55 million from DEP for the project, for that project. There are additional monies if we start doing the green initiatives. There's additional state money, county money, based on if we're gonna do the planting for the park next to it or stuff like that. There's additional funds. So we're using the number 55 because that's the number that DEP right now is comfortable maxing out. The true cost, when you add the interest on the 55 million, which is about $13 million, when you add over 20 years, when you add the connection projects, when you add the new road to connect us to Schumacher, the reality of this project in totality, so we're all going in eyes wide open, is in the $75 to $80 million range. That's just being realistic. So we all need to understand that when we commit to this, which we should commit to this, that's the price tag that we're all working off of. And we're not using, these numbers of 30 million, 35 million, because that's just fooling ourselves, okay? That nothing changed there, the numbers there. So the product that you have now, the 3 Excel sheets that lay out the glide path to the total project, some of the lower numbers have changed. When it came to the amount of parcels, water counts, I reduced that based on the new guidance we put up there. We reduced the growth. So that came down a little bit. We would be investing right now in what I call preparation expenses to prep the site, to get things ready. There's a $2 million commitment now. We would have to start in 2024 over the next 4 years. But understand, we'll be bringing in assessment revenue. We'll have revenue from the wastewater plant. So that will fund that. It's basically look at it as a CIP program for the wastewater. So that $2 million will have to be invested now, moving forward. That is not the $2 million I'm talking about we need to invest in the life of 20 years. You'll see that further down the line. So we're still shooting for a $55 million request from DEP. You see how the money flows. We end the year with an amount. We go back to the top. We start with that amount. We start collecting. We get interest. We end the year with the bottom number. So that's the logic of the slide you're seeing. So as you see, there's a large, what I'll call the war chest being built towards this project. In that first year in 2033, we will end the year. We'll have a loan. We'll start paying off the loan. We'll be running the old plant. We'll be building the new plant and operating the new plant. At a point in time, in this example here, you're going to have a $22 million amount sitting in our reserves for the wastewater plant. But that just doesn't sit there. You'll start seeing as it starts spending down. So over this 10-year cycle, you start seeing that number dwindle down because the painful reality is that when I'm having to make almost a $3 million loan payment every year, there's nothing we can do about that. So that's going to be fed with not only our reserves that we built up, but also the revenue that our wastewater plant is generating at that point in time. So you start seeing that number dwindle down over this next 10-year window. We're not collecting anymore, so we stopped collecting any assessments in 2034, and we're just reliant on what's in our reserves as well as what we're collecting from the loan money that we're paying out over time. We built the project, and this is what we're collecting in current revenue, totality of the revenue, and the operational expenses of our wastewater plant, the new wastewater plant. So as you see that 10-year window, it starts going down, where our reserve starts coming down from 22 million at the end of 10 years to 9 million, and we continue operating that way. This is the critical last 10-year window here. So the loan's gonna get close to payoff in 2049. This is where we need that additional investment of $2 million to keep us in the green at the very end. The reserves are continuing to dwindle down based on the amount of expenditures we have paying off the loan. Once the loan is paid off, we're good. We start seeing the lowest point in time with that $2 million investment is in 2049, the year we pay off the loan, we will have only $126,000 in the reserves for the wastewater plant. We'll still be operating, we'll still receive revenue of, in that scenario, close to $8 million of revenue at that point in time. Remember, this is almost 25 years in the future. Right now, we're getting about $3.5 million revenue. So as that revenue increases, that'll be the lowest point in time where we need that inject of $2 million. Then it's done. Then we're done our loan payoff. That major anchor is gone from us. Now we're just operating the plant based on the revenue generated. And as you see here, this will be a critical point in time for the board at that time, is that we would be generating enough to run our plant. We don't need a massive reserve other than to do continuous repairs. This would be a tough point in time where can we reduce rates? Can we do something different, whatever. But as you see the numbers play out, it starts building back up a reserve for wastewater for future. But remember, at that point in time, there is a 20-year-old plant that we may need to replace.
We're building another one.
We might be building the second plant because the other one on our northern plant might be hitting life cycle, so.
I had a question last week, and I didn't have the answer, and I looked here. Is the plan to keep raising assessments annually too?
So in this scenario, the plan is your wastewater bills will be raised 5% every year for the life of the loan.
No, I meant.
Not assessments. That's a separate discussion.
Okay.
So here, baked into this plan, we will have to raise the rates 5% every year. We will be in a financial position moving forward with the board here that I do not foresee us having to raise our assessment rates every year. That's not mandated. Wastewater, yes, we're gonna have to. And that's just to keep up with the cost of operating a wastewater.
Is this just, we will average 5% rate annually for 4 years, then move to an alternative? Is that not the assessment?
No, that's your wastewater, that's your water and wastewater bill. That's not the assessment.
I thought you just said we're going to 5% for the resident. Which way?
Good catch. No, good catch. When we redid some numbers, we sat down with finances. We have the ability here to be more structured. And while we probably do not need to raise 5% every year, we can do an alternation. This year it's 5%, next year 2.5. 5%, 2.5. If we stuck to 5% for the continuous 25 years here, we would not need to put $2 million extra in.
So that's a decision we have to make.
That's a decision you gotta make. If you want to give some fluidity to the raises, to give our residents an understanding that I'm not getting hit every year 5, we're trying to work this out as best as possible. We have this is built on a plan of 5, 2, 5, 2.5, 5, 2.5.
So to be transparent, that we're in your estimation, we're gonna be raising assessments every year. Something.
Wastewater bill, not assessments. Let's use the right terminology.
Why don't you?
Totally separate.
Okay.
Totally separate. Your bills you get for water and wastewater is based on this plan to support a wastewater plan. Those will have to be raised either 5 or 2.5 for the next 25 years.
So
Not your
assessments, we
assessments.
can just tell them it'd be up to the board.
Assessments is total separate discussion here that we would have.
Well, I want to be able to answer their question, that's all.
That's up to each board that comes in here if you want to raise assessments.
I think you're kidding ourselves. You have, if expenses go up 4%, assessments go up.
Yeah, and I just want to be able to tell them that
To pretend
people need
that
to
we're
know.
not sure what's going to happen, not the way to go. I think you have to be, I want to be honest with people. You're going to tell them assessments will go up as much as expenses go up. If they go up 5%, the assessment's going to go up 5%. If they go up 3%, we'll consider only a 3% raise. But I think in all honesty, as long as expenses increase every year, I mean, you got no choice, the assessment's got to increase.
Okay,
Is your mic on?
Is your,
Yes,
yeah,
is
I
your
don't
mic
think the
on?
mic's on.
Oh, I did that intentionally?
Yeah, let's, if you would leave them on.
I was trying not to be recorded. What I'm saying is, if the expenses for the district go up, the assessments have to go up, because right now we're playing basically an even ballgame. So if expenses go up 5, assessments are gonna go up 5. It's just, it's the fact of life. And to pretend that it's not gonna happen, to pretend that the expenses are gonna go up and we won't raise assessments, I think is not the right thing you guys should be considering. It's not gonna happen that way.
I agree.
A lot of pretending has put us in the position that we are right now.
that's right.
Exactly.
We weren't transparent enough in the past.
I totally agree 100%. Just when we have the discussion on this, we need to make sure we're talking apples and oranges here.
Yep.
Here it's apples. The apples is when I talk my water, wastewater bill, I need to raise rates X amount for the period of this, for just that project. Total separate discussion on assessments. I agree with you, sir. You're spot on.
Total separate, however, from the people's standpoint in the community, it's expenses out of their pocket, so I think
Oh, sure.
you have to tie it somehow.
Yes.
That's all.
For the purpose of trying to make sure that they understand, instead of calling our utility bill a special assessment, can we come up with another term?
Yeah.
That way, there's an assessment that we always do annually. This charge that we are talking about, the 180 a year going up to 240, is another type of specific charge unrelated to assessment.
Agreed.
It's just a mindset thing. My next question, if we need 2 million at the end, why do we stop with the special charge for water in 2034? Why don't we just continue that on?
We could continue it especially, usually, I'm relating this like a city would when you do an impact fee for road repairs, major infrastructure repairs. The max by law mandated is a 10-year window that they are allowed to pay it out over 10 years. I'm just using that model. We can truly have a 15-year special charge to eliminate any additional funding, and then it's a special charge. If we did that, if you go back to slide 1, rather than having $15 per bill for 5 years going to $20 per bill, you could make it $15 per bill for 15 years. Then it's just a static line item for that 15-year window. That would more than likely eliminate the need of any additional funding needed if you added 5 more years. Right now, we do $15, I'm saying $180 a year, and then in 5 years, it goes to $240 a year. The average is 15 and 20. So that's the stair step. If you added 5 years to that model, you could just make it a 15 flat across the board. So every year, a person that's either a parcel or you have an account with Sun and Lake, you would be paying $180 extra per year for 15 years. That would then fund this 100% with no additional money being sent by the district into this program. I can rework those numbers as the next step.
But at that jump, once we did that, then we don't have the concern of having the money at the end.
More like would be green all the way without additional money. Yes.
I mean, in my mind, I want something that says, this is the funding plan, and it carries us until we get this thing completed.
Great.
To have 2 million sitting at the end that we say, well, we don't know exactly how we're gonna take care of that, I would rather have it in the plan, this is what we're doing. My vote, that's my.
We can build that plan. That's
But, I mean, in my mind, it's a great plan. As you and I discussed, there's a lot of what ifs.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, you can say right now, let's go 5% a year for the next 30 years, but obviously the board and the district each year is going to have to review this and at some time make adjustments, because you're not going to hit it 100%. You know, I mean, hopefully you do.
Sure.
But the chances of us being right, looking into 20 years from now, is very difficult. So you set the plan, and the board will have to change it with the district as needed.
Absolutely, I mean, but this is the best thought process
Oh, it's a
that's
good plan.
that's available to us at this juncture.
The one string with this plan, or any plan like this, since it involves the state and the state giving us money, we can't stray too far from what we presented to them without their approval to say, change your numbers. So I would be more comfortable with future boards being either radical either way, not able to really do that because they're, I don't want to say their hands are tied, but they've established a precedence with the DEP to give us X amount of millions of dollars, and for them to drastically change that on a whim would have to get DEP approval. And that's gonna be hard to do.
I think that's fantastic,
Yeah, so that's hard to do.
because otherwise, I think that's great, because
So the only thing we have to decide right now is whether we want to do 5% ongoing or whether we want to go to that alternate.
The decisions over the next 30 days, that will come with a motion at least in November, December at the latest, is when do we want to start a special charge? The recommendation of staff is 2024. The amount of that special charge, is it the 180 or 240, the way it's laid out here? And then do we want to do 5% or alternations of increases, annual increases on the water, wastewater bills? Those are the three motions that I would have to get from the board to build this plan for submission to DEP.
And why are we waiting 30 days?
Oh, well,
I mean, can't we do that today?
I
I mean,
think,
things are gonna change, then we're gonna, huh?
don't we need to do a little more, letting the public know what we're doing?
I think, yes, I agree with you, yes.
I mean, I don't know if it's gonna make any difference.
That's why it's not a motion on today.
We have to decide what to tell the public. Wouldn't that help if we
That
make a
we've already
decision?
passed it?
So then we can tell the
I-
public.
well, it's not the, well,
There's no motion
It's
on
not on
the
the
agenda.
agenda.
Yeah.
No, we're just,
there is no motion, but it can be, there could be one.
Well, the recommendation here would be, if there's consensus on those three issues, then I have now 30 days to engage public, to get the comments out, to put the motion together for you, and then I bring back to you in 30 days. Motions are good, feedback is good, everyone's on board for the most part, let's move forward with it.
let's talk about the public for a moment. I know you've made great efforts in trying to inform the public of what's going on. However, I will tell you that the average person in Sonoma has no freaking clue what's going on. He has no clue as to what kind of money they're gonna be charged over the next
They don't,
year, much less the next 20 years.
I agree.
So what I would suggest is that you come up with or the district comes up with some sort of a writing, something on paper that goes into the utility bills, so that everybody who gets a utility bill will be informed of what's going on and informed that way. When I opened up the last utility bill a couple of days ago, you had all the information on I forget what.
Meters. Additional rates and stuff.
Instead of putting that in the bill, put what we're doing in the bill, and so that way nobody has an excuse to say, I didn't know this was coming. And because you can have all the people you want here, and we can talk about this to all the friends and all the relatives and neighbors, but we don't connect to everybody. So I would like to see us send something out in writing.
Give me consensus on those three issues, I'll put together the fact sheet, it'll go in the November bills, we'll come to the November meeting with a motion.
How else are you gonna tell the people?
Yeah.
How else would we tell the people?
Do we have a consensus on that we want to start with a special charge in 2024? Number one.
Yes. Yes.
Next, that we want to raise the water rates by 5% annually for the life of the loan.
Yes.
Well, we have to.
Yeah.
Okay,
Hold on. I think you said it was 10 years.
Well, it's the life of the loan, it has to be for the life of the loan, so it goes all the way to 2040.
What's the 10-year number?
10-year was the assessment, the special charge. 10 years is a special charge, that goes away after 10. Well, it may not if you have consensus on the next one.
Yeah.
So that's a special charge. The rates for your water bills would be all the way through 2049.
So that just stays in effect for eternity.
Yes.
All right, the next, is that all right?
Yeah.
Okay. Then the following thing is that we want to go and avoid having a $2 million deficit at the end. So we want to go with like $180 for the life, for 15 years to satisfy the requirements of the loan. Yeah, that makes sense.
Just adding 5 years to the window of special charges.
Sure. I mean, then that piece of paper is what we all go by.
So 15-year window for special charges. And are you comfortable with the 180 number for that entirety, or you want it to fluctuate as presented here? It goes from 180 for 5 to 240. It could go back to 180, just make it a flat 180.
It's a flat 180.
I would have to do quick math.
Whatever number it takes to be.
You want to be consistent,
Satisfied.
that's all I need, yes, sir.
Whatever needs to be satisfied. Okay.
I do have one question. Why did the water accounts come down in 2032? Is that just a mistake?
That is a mistake, yes, sir. Yep, we'll change
Hey,
it.
see, we got more money.
Yeah, sure, yes, that's always good to have those mistakes, yes. I will correct that, yes.
Okay. All right, and then you'll put together
We'll do a one-page fact sheet to be inserted in bills. We'll update this. I'll get this to you all as well as post it on our website. And so it'll show the spend plan. And we'll come to the November meeting with basically those 4 motions for a final vote. Once you get public feedback, you guys have 30 days to look at it. And then we go live in December.
Can we get a copy of the fact sheet?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
okay. Any public comment?
That would be a very popular meeting.
Morning, Bill Norcross, resident. Is this working?
Check, has it got a green light on it?
I think I agree with Supervisor Ray that a lot of people have no clue what's going on here. And they should be informed and give them a 30-day window that you were talking about, which seems to be apropos. Now, my question is, in that meeting that you held on the water treatment, there was a fellow that come up and he says, that is old technology. We're going with the Echo plant, recovery for water problems and create electricity. Well, what is the problem with that? Is it a cost factor, too new project, or an alternate we just don't want to get involved with? Which is it?
We're looking at all options as this thing is being developed. Those plans will be considered just like the rest of them are. And when he gives his recommendation, he'll come to us with what the state and he recommends that we do. And it may or may not include those things.
Well, the fellow that presented the project has run water treatment plants, is very, very up to date with the new deal. So I think it would be to our advantage to have an option in the wings so that this project can be done correctly.
It's going to be done
Not with any
It will be
regret.
done correctly. It will be done correctly.
Well, I understand it. I hope it's gonna be done
Well,
correctly.
you
It's a
just
very
said
expensive
you want it to
thing.
be done correctly. I'm saying it will be done correctly.
Well, I just want to make sure that the options are being investigated. I really appreciate that.
They are being fully engaged with Mr. Hoffman, Dr. Hoffman, yes, sir.
Any other comment? Good.
Daniel Garland, 4505 Calatrava. I just want to boil this down if I can, as you fellas and lady, understand the terms that are being tossed and all that. I understand the $15, so that would be a flat fee added to every bill. Will be shown as
As a supplement, what will it be shown as?
It will be a special charge on the bills, yes, sir.
Okay.
It'll be separate.
So somebody looking at their bill will see that as a separate charge, okay? The I've heard the term wastewater increase, but we're also talking about fresh water, right, or not? That's what, because on the bill, it's two separate. There's wastewater and there's water consumption.
Yes, this is, yeah,
It's
it is a combination.
It's a combination. The 5.2 annual raise that we are implementing right now, a portion of that is for wastewater and a portion of that fresh water.
So it's on the total bill?
Yes, in total, it will go up, your total bill goes up 5.2%.
That's my question. And that's annual?
Yes.
That's in addition to the 50?
Check.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, that's clear. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Before we get off this subject, I have one question, just clarification. So all this is the water plant, does this have anything to do with the location and the access? Is that included in this, or is that something separate? In other words, we still haven't decided how we're gonna get to Cortez, or not to Cortez, to Schumacher.
Well,
I mean, there's two options on the table.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah.
But the monies to do that is not included in this, is that correct?
That's that first 4 years of $2 million of effort. That is included in that.
So that's for clearing the loan.
That's land clearing, getting the parcels, getting a road built in there, getting the Schumacher.
But we still have to decide how to get to Schumacher. Or have
We're
we decided
by
that?
default saying it's going to be Palermo in front of our wastewater plant. The Cortez option's off the table.
We've settled on that.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
And I just, I've heard a few things already. The we part is, but I'd like a little more we part to know what's going on. Because I just heard stuff that I had no idea what we were doing. I mean, I don't say I'm disagreeing, but I think I should be informed of what the heck you guys are doing.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
I don't know where.
The we part is what I mean.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll
And that's not his fault, that's communication, that's all.
Gotcha.
I did not hear Palermo was the option. I hadn't heard that was settled.
I think that was before you did. But yeah, we talked about it.
We talked about last time, we talked about someone going back to the county to try to get them to pay more to get it farther.
Well, that's a whole different issue.
Well, I know.
That's Schumacher to get us.
Well, I get that. The question then was, can we put a road to a eggshell or shell road?
No, they're.
So, I'm just saying, I kind of agree with Mike, I didn't know that was settled on Palermo going to Schumacher.
Well, it was always Unit 6, so that's where it's always been
Yeah.
planned
Okay.
out, so.
Then it's all on me.
No.
It's just, all we need is just a little more
I
communication.
totally understand, yes, sir. That is on me because that's an assumption based on the plan of where the plant's going. Palermo is the road that we need as a boundary road to get to Schumacher. If we need to re-energize the discussion on sticking a fork in Cortez, then I need to bring that to y'all to say, stop talking Cortez. That's on me. And I can present that next month saying, Cortez is not an option, we need a westerly road, Palermo.
So Palermo is on top of Cortez.
It's to the,
You're gonna have to
it's
take
to the west
Cortez,
of Cortez.
go up to Palermo, and then get to
Take
Schumacher.
Granada.
You'll come up Palermo, you'll hit Granada, you'll go about a quarter mile on Granada, and then you can either stay on Granada or take Cortez to Sun Lake. Yeah. We do have, because of,
I'm bad with the visual.
yeah. We do have options out there as this thing progresses that we could make Palermo a straight shot to Sun Lake, because we own a lot of those parcels. We could make it very simply, just go straight north, tie in, T-bone into Sun Lake
But
to
that's,
avoid that dog leg. We can.
We talked about that last time.
we're
Yeah.
talking.
Yeah.
Can you do me a favor?
That's a lot of money. I'm just
Yeah.
saying that the option is there.
Can you do me a favor and give me a clean,
Yes.
clear drawing of how it's gonna work?
Yeah, it's exactly to the point the gentleman was making here is we were trying to lock in the ballpark finances.
Right.
The next step of this, the next few steps of this over the next year is sitting down with the consultants, the contract, and figuring out the layout, the type of technology, all that stuff. That is putting the cart before the horse at this stage right now. It sounds a little bit backwards. You're talking money locking in before you know what you're building, but the way this thing plays out is we got to lock in a number of money and then start building the plan for the specifications of the money. So, but I will lay out an oversight view.
Okay, moving on to item D is discussion and motion to approve the 2024 board meeting. So let's discuss the dates that appear have been established on this insert. Anybody got any heartburn with any of these dates?
Yeah, I have a question. On the November 26th one, that's awful close to Thanksgiving. I would suggest that we move it. I don't know.
Yeah, just a minute. Let's maybe get the,
Isn't that the same, isn't Thanksgiving like the 28th?
It's the,
Or did I may have made a mistake on this?
the fourth Thursday, which is the 28th would be Thanksgiving.
So it's 2 days from Thanksgiving. I just think that's awful close.
So why we back it up?
back it up a week.
21st?
That's how I would do.
That's not.
Back it up to 21.
All right.
Wait a minute, November 19th would be the Tuesday, 21 is a Thursday. So it would be November
19th.
19th.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. The red are just my recommendations of additional meetings we have to schedule for next year. You guys agree? We can always eliminate them.
The landowners meeting, it says January 2023.
I'm sorry, 24, yeah. That's
But
it.
it's on Saturday? I don't think that's right.
It's Friday, it's gotta be a Friday.
It's the last Friday of the month in January.
26th is a Friday.
Friday, sorry.
So it's going to be the 26th at 11 o'clock, correct?
Confirm it.
Yeah. Yes, it's the 26th.
Friday, the 26th at 11 a.m. here, yes.
I'm good with the rest.
So we'll put this together in a notice and we'll get it out, and if you are approving of these dates and we're locked in, you already approved everything through December of this year, so we don't need to revisit November's or December's.
Okay, so the board agrees with this. Any public comment related to these dates for our board meetings? Motion to approve with the amendments that we talked about.
I move.
Second. Call the vote.
Supervisor Gilpin,
Yes.
Supervisor Norton,
Yes.
Supervisor Phillips,
Yes.
Supervisor Brooks,
Yes.
President Herrick.
Yes. Next item E is discussion on the 2024 road resurfacing plan. Bob, you want to take this one?
So in your packet, we have a little synopsis of our road resurfacing or rebuild plan. Y'all understand, and our citizens need to understand, we haven't taken a hard rebuild or resurfacing plan for many years. We've been defaulted by COVID, been defaulted by funding, defaulted by a bunch of issues, trying to get us back on track to the need to focus on at least 3 miles a year to keep us ahead of the curve. We have 80 miles of roads. The term I use, we have to touch every one of that 80 miles within a 30-year window. Otherwise, the road starts degrading to a point of total replacement rather than resurfacing, which is a 10 times cost. So we're trying to avoid that. We have, and you'll see here, our data to pick the roads is data and metric driven. It's not, well, I live on this road, fix it. We got 10 complaints from neighbors on this road, fix it. It can't be that way. There can be some of that influencing it, but the majority of it needs to be data driven, and you'll see our logic coming up. Costs are always rising. Right now, as you see, based on the cost for resurfacing, it could be up to almost $150,000 per mile. And we'll talk specifically on resurfacing. Right now, our major thoroughfares are boulevards, Granada, Cortez, Sun Lake. If you walk out here, you'll see there's a, what they call a Miami curve, a little swale on the flanks of that road. A lot of our other areas do not have that, except for one or two HOAs, I think. Farthest down there, Magnolia, I believe. But there's a purpose for that. It's not just aesthetics. There's a purpose for that. There's a reason that needs to be installed. It actually segments the road to prevent creeping in of water and erosion to the flanks of the road. Otherwise, the asphalt just ends. You put that hard structure of cement. It helps with stormwater. It'll push the stormwater somewhere, but it actually gives a more finite definition of the road, protects the boundaries of the road, and then gives us aesthetically, now the default of that, aesthetically, an easier road to maintain for weeding, cleaning, or whatnot. And so we need to start moving back to doing that for our roads. And that's going to be across the older neighborhoods as well as our newer neighborhoods for sure. For a contractor to do that right now in today's day and time, it's about $45 a linear foot. That's a massive undertaking, a costly undertaking. With the right piece of equipment, we have the expertise and manpower to do that at a fraction of that cost. And we do it internally as a district. We have the amount of roads, the amount of workload that for us to take that on with our roads department makes total sense and will save us a massive amount of money, just for a situation where it's. Okay.
How much does the equipment cost?
The piece of equipment is a $200,000 piece of equipment. We would use it the majority of the time, but it also gives us the opportunity because it'd be the only piece of equipment in the county. We could lease it out. Because right now, Miami curb is done by hand, time-consuming process. The only one that has a machine is DOT, and they ain't gonna come down here. So a piece of equipment like that would be very critical to the area here, that when we're using it, great, but we have the ability to loan it out. Apologize, probably my road project. Okay. Real short here, Road 101, and y'all, I don't want to insult anyone's intelligence. Our roads are very Florida-like. There's not a lot of sub-base, there's not a lot of surface course, and the base course is minimal. This is the basic structure of any road to include our roads. So if you drive around our road network, you're seeing out there the asphalt, the skin of the road. That's the surface course. Right now, across our district is averaging about 1 inch to 1.5 inches. The standard nationally should be 3 to 6 inches.
What are you doing?
Now, that's no fault of anyone in this room or previous people in this room. That was just choices made by boards here, leadership here, as well as Florida. That's a standard across Florida. So, yes, so understand that. That thickness is determined based off extreme temperature changes and other reasons. So the challenge with that is you have to address the road and keep that surface on there. Otherwise, it starts getting, compromised. So that's the challenge we're working toward. We don't have really a problem with our base course and our sub-base course. We do the proper work. You'll see a perfect example on Columbus. You'll see a perfect example of the project here on Sun and Lake. If you look at the side view of that, you'll see the amount of sub-base and base course. The roads are done well and no issues there. It's really the surface course that we are being, I don't want to say negligent on, but we need to address on a more familiar basis or more regular basis. Just think of the surface course as the suntan lotion you put on your skin. And we have to continue to apply that, otherwise you will get skin damage, all right? Okay, so this next slide shows you the age of the roads in the district. This is a product that Polston has produced. This has been the product that the district has used to address new road resurfacing. So they strictly went with the age of the road, determined when it was due to get replaced or resurfaced. Now that's a way, it's not the best way. It should be based on use, location, and the status of the road. So as you see here, the majority of our roads in red are all original roads. They're 25 years or plus, mostly the plus. They're the original structures from many years ago. We've done resurfacing at a somewhat infrequent basis. In some of the areas, you see the black color, that's the most recent, and so on. The areas in yellow is what I'm labeling as potential future new roads based on our strategic plan. These are the only areas that we may need to look at new roads, either with us taking charge, a developer taking charge. As you see, the Hornick properties in there, our wastewater plants in there. These would be the areas that we've identified potential for a new structure to go in, and then we just add it to the network. 65% of Sun Lake roads are over 35 years with no resurfacing done in that time period. There's been patch jobs, you see it all over the place, but no major resurfacing, and that's a problem. So my discussion with our engineers, they have a 1 to 100 scale that they kind of think they use. They can't show me a product. They can't show me what the scale of all our roads is. They show me the previous product. The state of Florida has the DOT has a very detailed status sheet. This is a nationally accepted ranking of just 1 to 10 with very specific, that a layman can understand this and see the quality, the status of a road by just driving outside and looking at it. So I drove around with the engineers, with roads department, and we basically categorized all our roads in the district over the past month. That's your rankings on the side there, what we've ranked the road structures are. We'll talk those very quickly here. The majority is 33% of our roads needed some type of form of immediate care, but it'll be based on the time and the money that we have. That's the lower end roads where you have alligator cracking and basically compromised road. The rest, we have some time to address.
So that 33% is a third of the 80 miles of road?
Check.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so you look at here, this is simplistically. If you start seeing traverse cracks, as we call them, that's the picture to the top left corner. That's a sign that your road's starting to get compromised. We can catch it, we can fix it, we can patch it as you see here, but that's the start point. When you start seeing longitudinal cracks, where you're seeing with the road width, with the tire width, that means you're starting to get major sub-course, sub-base compromise, because that's more weight driven and utilization, rather than a traverse crack comes with just basic settling of the land and so on. We can address that. When you put those two together, you have what they call block cracks. You got them this way, you got them this way, and they block together. Now you're having trouble. Now you need to address the road. When it gets to the bottom, left corner there, what we call alligator cracks, your road has been compromised. You need to put some energy on it, otherwise the only thing you can do next is a new road. You can try to resurface that, but when you resurface it and you grind it out, you're resurfacing it all and it's gone. There's nothing to resurface. You got to rebuild the road. We're trying to avoid that. If you drive out what I call the back 40, you'll see a lot of that. That's our challenge. That's our problem. And we got to start addressing that. Even though I have very few residents out there, if we don't address it in a somewhat timely manner, we'll all be spending millions of dollars out there over the years, because the roads will just decompose, and then no one will buy out there, and that'll be a problem. There's other categories of graveling, polishing. You start seeing it getting real sheen. You start seeing it getting white. You start seeing the rocks rather than an asphalt. You're losing that suntan protection anymore. We got to get back on that. So when we drove the district, we drove around, we assessed all our roads. This is the product we'll be starting to use, and apologize for my little stickies there. That's the note to the engineers. This is how we've assigned the ranking of all our road networks that are active roads. It's not tied to years, it's tied to actual status of the road. So as you see here, a lot of our westerly roads are in the 1 to 3 category. We accept that, and we'll work towards that over time. But the bulk of our roads are in that 9 to 10, which is really good. They'll sustain a lot longer. And then we have a portion in the middle there, some of our HOA areas, Manor Hill, the Myrtle Beach area, and so on. But we look at it now holistically. This is the status right now. I give you a ranking to the left there, the number of miles per status. So as you still see there, about 25 miles are in a 3 or less category, where the others is, we can address them over time. When you do all that math, you do all that metrics, you sit down, you do assessment of the roads, what we're wanting to do starting in 2024 is catch up from the 2-3 years in the past, we haven't done anything. And, oh, by the way, that money just rolled over. Okay, so all the money from 2023, $350,000, the roads people didn't spend. It sat in the account. So on 1 October, I'm rolling in 2024, now I have $350,000, plus we put another $300,000, I have $750,000 that I can address on roads and get caught up. Okay? So as you see this chart, I use the same chart of the status of the roads by years, and I overlaid in the dark blue what we will be resurfacing in this year. So in the totality, there's some spot projects that need to be addressed. The logic here is about 15 to 20% of our road projects every year will be focused on my back 40. The out yonder there. We'll base it on population density, where a lot of the folks have started to dot around their houses, but we need to put some money out there. But that'd be about 15, 20% of the budget. The bulk of the budget will be where we have majority density in our other subdivisions, as you see there, Catalina area, the center there, Pebble Beach, Myrtle Beach area. And then some of our major thoroughfares, we got a segment on Cortez, the Granada needs to be fixed. And then going out towards 27 on the north side, Ponce de Leon and so on. So this will be just this year's expenditure plan for the road resurfacing. We bid this. We have a collaboration with Sebring that we co-used some resources there. So we're not needing to do a special bid on this. We're allowed just to piggyback on their contract. We will bid it all at one time so I get the best cost. And then that contractor will give us the estimate of the timeline so we can build it into our plan to our citizens and notify them when the road's closed, when we're going to resurface and so on. All this is resurfacing. We're not digging up roads. We're putting at least 1.5 inches to 2 inches of new asphalt on all the areas in blue. You'll be a good new blacktop, and we'll start looking at the curbing over time if we can tackle some of these projects. That's
You're doing the 4 miles in the blue.
in blue.
Correct.
This will be for this year.
4 miles, right?
It comes out about just shy of 4, yes, sir. Yeah.
I thought there was 400,000 in the budget, no?
Well, there's road potholes repair. I don't take that money. There's about 300 for total road resurfacing. The rest of the road maintenance plan is for potholes, fixes, that type of stuff.
So you're leaving 100,000?
Yeah.
So you're taking 3 out of the 4.
Yeah.
Putting it with the 3.
From last year, 350 from last year.
And you got 650?
Yep.
And you got 100 in spare for potholes when they happen. Are you gonna separate those accounts?
We're quickly identifying that we need to start putting more line items in our budget, yes.
Okay, so when you come to us, you'll have a separate line?
You'll have a road resurfacing line and you'll have a pothole, yes, sir, I got you.
Yeah.
Yes,
That would be good.
it will be good, yes. Very helpful.
And then we'll assume that each year going forward, you're gonna put about $400,000 in that.
The average should be 350 to 4. And in the September, when you approve a budget, you'll also get the resurfacing plan included for the next fiscal year that I would bake into the budget numbers and as to the budget approval, that you're basically going to be approving the resurfacing plan at the same time. And then we post it for our citizens to see what's going to be touched.
Just one other question. The 9, which is the worst, 9 to 10 or 1 to 2?
1 to 2 is the bottom number is the worst.
The bottom one is worse?
Yep. And it's an odd graph, if I'm gonna get really geeky engineer on here. A 9, 10, and 8 road will degrade at a lesser rate than a 1, 2, or 3 road. Just understand that type of graph. It's not a 45 cut line.
Right.
So just a 9, 10, and 8, I can hold a few years without touching it. But once you start breaking to a 1, 2, or 3, it's almost a cliff. That's why they need to be addressed, because then you're rebuilding the whole road.
So that's why I'm confused. The 1, 2, and 3 is 25 miles, and that's bad stuff, right?
That's our bad stuff, yes,
So
sir.
we're gonna do 4 miles of number 7?
Well, that's our bad stuff, but also I gotta look at the population density, where that bad stuff is. That's why I said 20% of my budget's gonna go towards a 1, 2, or 3, irregardless annually, and that's where you see some of the work being done out there.
So out of the 650,000, you're gonna take about 120 and put it towards.
It's gonna be towards our-
The rest goes towards.
Everything out west of Cortez, yes, sir. So you'll see some shiny new roads out there and maybe 1 or 2 houses on there. That's fine, because we're taking care of those residents as well as taking care of the roads. And that's all I got for this. Don't need a motion, just wanted to give you all awareness of it and see the process moving forward in this.
Any public comment?
Bill President, I appreciate the road work being done or proposed. I know under Tanya's leadership here, we were designated $300,000 every year for road repair. And I don't know if that has been exhausted. You're gonna have a rollover, so that you're gonna end up with 650,000 for next year, which is appreciated. At least we're making some progress in that. The problem I have is why we were supposed to have purchased a while ago a line painting machine or capability, so we wouldn't have to rent. My question is, why aren't the lines maintained? I mean, you got yellow dot lines on Columbus you can't even see. You have speed bumps, you cannot see the white markings on it at night. And I just can't understand why this hasn't been maintained. I know you're a new guy here, but we've got to get somebody on some of the road cosmetic things. And I think it's really important for people driving around at night and maybe there's not a lighted surface and everything else, and there's a few problems. So I think that this project, and it seems to be well thought out, and I just hope it's implemented and kept up. Seriously. An old-time restaurateur used to tell me, well, when business is good, the parking lot looks really good. When business is bad and you can't afford it, the parking lot really sucks. So you have to understand, I don't want to see the degrading of this area here by not being able to read white signs, white lines, or anything else. So I appreciate the work. Thank you.
I did, one other question, just clarify. That you're gonna spend $250,000 to buy that piece of equipment too?
200.
The next discussion I'm bringing to you, now, we're not buying that right now.
Okay.
I would bring that as a special purchase. I'm gonna recommend, based on our end of year finances when we do the audit, yes.
Okay.
So that's coming.
It's coming, yes.
Okay.
And just one last thing to add to that, the Sun Lake, what's going on right now, if we would have owned 1 or 2 special pieces, just like Bill brought up here, some of this special equipment, I could have saved almost $100,000 if we owned it as a district. So we need to get to that point. We are big enough that we need to be self-sustainable, and we need to get to that point. And I will be bringing to you some critical equipment that we need to buy. We own it, we manage it, we run it, and we will save a lot of money.
Sounds good. Okay. Add-on items.
Yeah. The only add-ons on your packet, give me a second here. I asked professionally our attorney to step out because this is dealing with the lawsuit that the district has against his firm, and when he worked for them, part of a lawsuit that was against the district that we were found in negligence, potential negligence on. The lawyers that we hired asked me that do we as a district want to pursue the full cost of the damages, $30,000 to $40,000 is what we think we can get from the legal insurance of our lawyer's firm, or settle for the $10,000 that they offer. So they need more than just me saying go full bear. I needed a motion here from you all. Do you want to settle for a much lower amount, or feel comfortable, and they are very comfortable they will win the higher number because it's in our favor. It has to be in our favor.
I'd like a motion for us to go for the full amount of recovery.
So moved.
Second. I don't remember.
There's other guys here.
We got a second
I
already.
said second.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Okay, call the vote.
Supervisor Norton,
Yes.
Supervisor Phillips,
Yes.
Supervisor Brooks,
No.
Supervisor Gilpin,
Yes.
President Herrick.
Yes.
All right, thank you much. We'll get a hold of them, and it should be settled in the next 30 days.
Petitions and communications?
Nothing received.
Is David still here, or did he leave?
No, he'll be back.
Yeah, we'll get it started.
What we did?
Yeah.
Golf and Clubhouse are out on an outside excursion. They were not able to attend. Their information's in the packet. If there's any specific questions for them, I can take it. I'll have a meeting with them later in the week, but they're not going to be present today.
Is there a problem or just?
No, it's an event that they were both asked to attend, and I gave them permission to go attend. Yep.
I did not call, I was not active on Saturday,
Okay.
but unfortunately, I've got a lot. I've got 4 complaints about the food in the food closet.
Okay.
I had numerous complaints. I being one of them also. And I've already sent Michael a detailed message about the presentation I thought was very poor. Food quality, the steak was below standard.
Okay.
It was very, very disappointing.
Was this at that tournament? The Halloween?
The Halloween tournament. The Halloween tournament.
I wasn't sure. I thought.
Yeah, we had the place full, and it's unfortunate that out of the gate we came out with that.
Okay. So more so service and quality, or quality?
Service wasn't all that bad. I could get
Quality
into
of
some specifics. There was the quality of the food and the present.
Okay.
You can't have a full house like that
Oh, agreed. Yeah.
and just blow it.
Throw out beanie weenies.
Again,
Gotcha.
it's not the first time, it's again.
Okay.
I did have one comment on golf.
Sure.
That I expressed to Mike, just to let you know. The average rate per round in August was $20.
Okay.
And I thought $20, and this is outside play. The average rate for tournaments was $17. And I thought with all the money and effort you put into the golf course, that level is just absurd.
It's unacceptable.
Okay.
We have the best golf courses that we paid for. We spent a lot of money on those golf courses, and we can't get.
Yeah, I mean, I challenged him, and, he's aware that the average rates are not acceptable.
Yeah.
But $20, I mean, my God.
Gotcha.
If members knew that, they'd say, why are we paying this amount of money?
And they're getting more and more into knowing that.
Yeah, they are.
Understand. Okay. I have a meeting with them later this week, so.
Okay. General Counsel, David?
Yeah, I don't have a lot. I know that we're moving forward on the Avanti student. I think we've delivered everything to Mr. Rhodes' office as far as production, as far as we're required. I think they have till the end of the year to conclude all that stuff. Then there will be another shade meeting between January and May. I don't know that date's been settled on yet, but that'll be with whoever your new council is at that time. I know that I just, before the meeting, I talked with Boz about any response from the county attorney regarding our changes to I have got no communication at all. You're meeting with him
After this meeting.
after this meeting, so hopefully he'll get an update from them on what's, because basically everything's done. I don't know why it would take any time to get it on the agenda, but hopefully he'll be able to get that answer.
So, assuming that they give you a positive answer today, are we going with the new format for the this meeting or the old?
Remember, what we submitted to them was just changing some of the ordinance language for code enforcement.
Right.
We did not address landowners.
So this will be a regular landowners meeting for the
Yeah.
beginning of 2024.
But the absentee ballots,
And an absentee ballot, I'm sorry. That was included.
That will go in that.
I believe that's what you're,
That's what you're talking
So,
about.
I mean,
Yes.
we made some changes. Right?
Yes. If they approve it, then we will go with absentee ballot notices for this election.
Proxies.
And you'll find that out this afternoon.
Well, hopefully, we'll yes, find out where they stand on it.
David, you have anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Turn 2, the sign. Whatever happened with that?
I had a discussion with Boz about it, because they have, Tanglewood's got new management, or, a new on-site manager, and to see if we can work something out with them as far as, because right now, the last thing that happened was, Tanglewood made an offer and saying, we'll rent the space to Turn 2 for whatever the amount was, like $150 or $250 a month, and Turn 2 wasn't willing to pay that amount. So that's where it kind of got left.
This has been going on for a year for a
So,
sign.
yeah, I understand. So the problem is we have a 10-year lease with them, that we have leased the land to Tanglewood, and it renews for a 10-year period, so it won't come up for renewal until 2027. My recommendation is that we revisit that lease, and based on what's happened over the past years, we found out they have complied with all the requirements of the lease. It didn't look like they had, but they were in compliance.
We can't do anything until 2027.
Well, we could try to renegotiate, but until 2027, we can't. My recommendation would be not to renew the lease for another 10 years. That would be my recommendation. That way you can kind of force them into giving us some more control, because right now they have complete control.
We can't get an agreement between them and Turn 2 to put up a stop.
We're working on
We
it.
don't have any ability.
I put the new manager, Angie, together with the owner, Owen. We met, we had a discussion. He's providing her the actual specifics of the signage. She has to take that to corporate. It's a decision that's not made at Tanglewood, it's made out in Tampa, I guess, somewhere. So they're working towards it. We're gonna get it resolved. Total agreement, and I kind of showed my cards. This is something we should not renew. We need positive control of that road based on an access road and based on the commercial businesses along that road as a district. I do not need a subdivision owning their own access. So moving forward, they're on notice that they need to start playing well, otherwise that's gonna get yanked out very quickly.
it's gonna get yanked out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, general manager?
You have your report there. I'm not going to belabor a lot of stuff. All's going well. The biggest numbers, we have our numbers financially now I'm talking. HR, we're good. We have one position open that we're replacing internally. Our billing expert or specialist is leaving. We're promoting internal. Carmen is going to move up. And now we're seeking a new customer service person at the front desk. Other than that, every other position's filled, all working well. So we're good there. We did authorize the 3% cost of living raise across the board for all staff. That was in the budget. So that goes into effect starting in October for this next budget cycle. So that was well received, obviously, by the staff. They appreciate that. I put a hold on all merit raises, all merit increases until my personal assessment of every individual. I will determine, not a department head, if there's a merit increase warranted based on their performance, their job satisfaction to the district. And that'll be in the next 3 to 4 month window. I'll be analyzing and assessing every one of our staffers with staff department recommendations. I'll assess every one of them and then determine if there's a merit increase warranted for individuals. So that was placed on hold. We had a staff meeting. They all heard it right from my mouth. So we're good. We're gonna move out that way. The finances is looking very well. We have received our end of year district and utility numbers, starting to put some analysis there. We're getting the golf numbers. They're about a month behind, but I got a bootleg copy of their end of year. So I'm working with them when they get back. So by next month, I will bring you the budget amendment of where we ended the year in the positive, very much so in the positive, and what we should be doing with that excess, either specific projects to complete or put it in the reserve. And I'll show you that, those numbers, how it's gonna impact our budget. Remember, look at your budget packets, we were expecting to have an end of year rollover of $1 million and put into our reserves about $3.5 million. So that's the two numbers going into this that I'll present to you what that real number is once we do the audit of 2023. But that's our baseline. And right now, we're at that and above. So if you're very comfortable, we're in a great financial position as a district. And I'll present you some recommendations moving forward for the majority of the projects here.
Excellent news.
Got a meeting right after this with the county. The county is coming to us with their department heads next Monday. They're gonna have an on-site visit. I'm gonna take them out to the wastewater plant. I'm gonna show them Sun Lake Boulevard. I'm gonna show them Schumacher. I want them to put their eyes on it so they can relay to their, not the commissioners, it's county department heads. I want them to be able to understand our concerns, our issues, so they can relay that to their commissioners. So it'll be an on-site visit. We'll host them. We'll have a briefing in the, here to them. And then we'll have a drive around the district to show them projects and what they're needing their help on. So that's going, that'll be done. Unless you have a specific question, I'll go through the other.
What?
Over 25K, there's only two. You all approved them. It's the usual end of monthly payment for our healthcare, as well as some of the pipe work that was tied to the emergency repairs on Sun Lake. You all approved that, so there's no need for any additional motions or approvals of our over 25K expenditures for September. We're moving forward with code enforcement, doing well on that. I included here, we did go to the magistrate. So last year there was a very hybrid version of a magistrate meeting. Very little, if any, fines were levied on the individuals that were brought to the magistrate last year. We took a whole different approach here. The data, the documentation we had, we were able to bring to our magistrate a very firm holding of accountability for these individuals here to the tune of close to $6,000 or $3,500 in fines that they were all found in negligence on. So we're going to hold them accountable. We're going to have one magistrate, I think two in the works for this month. And my guidance to code enforcement is that we will continue to conduct magistrate meetings. If needed, we will get compliance. We will hold folks accountable. I say that 95% of our notices, our violation highlights are being complied with. As soon as we drop off the letter, we make a phone call, we engage a citizen. Very little pushback. What you see here and what you'll see in the near future of these magistrate meetings are that very small handful of just obstinate folks and owners and business owners and contractors that have just been thumbing their nose at Sun Lake. We're past that. Done, done, done. And we're going to be holding accountable with liens on their properties and parcels as needed. All right?
Good.
So we're moving forward on that. We are addressing some of the language again. This will be something that I'll bring. I'm working with the county, working with Dave. We're going to change some of our language again because there are some, I don't call loopholes, but just gray areas. I'll use grass. We have a grass of 12 inches high grass ordinance. That's a county ordinance. We all live by that. What we are not enforcing, and the county doesn't even enforce it, is what we call noxious weeds. So that's where you can just have just weeds all in your grass that are creeping into your neighbor's lawn. They're only about 2-3 inches. So we can't fine them for high grass, but they're a dangerous weed that creeps and damages not only your property, but your neighbor's property. We need to add that into our rules and regulations that we can fine and hold people accountable for noxious weeds. It's done nationally. It amazes me it's not done here in Florida. So we're gonna fix that for us. We'll be on the cutting edge. We will do it. We will enforce it. And that'll address almost 50% of our high grass complaints. They're not high grass. They're just people that don't maintain their yards with noxious weeds. And we'll address that. So more to follow. We're working towards this. Having 2 full-time code enforcement guys during the day has been a massive bonus for our operation. Because we're big enough, we're large enough, we're having 2 guys that are engaged with the citizen as well as patrolling, and a lot of benefits there.
The board meeting.
Oh, my favorite topic, Sun Lake Boulevard. So it's a well needed, overdue event. That we are just going through the rigmarole of county rules and regulations, county pushback, as well as just finding massive rat's nests of stuff under the ground. So again, part of my discussion with the county, what I'll be asking you all to have discussions with county commissioners on, this happens when your county is responsible for permits and allowance to do stuff in our district without our agreement. So in the easements of this project, we have found, with our knowledge not being asked, or not permission not being asked, the county for many, many, many years have been approving fiber optic, water lines, waste, all this type of stuff in our easements. So when we dig up the easement, put something we need, we can't do it. It's just a rat's nest of stuff. That's what happened here. So rather than boring under Sun and Lake, using our easement off the back of the parcels, off of Cremona and Sun and Lake, we were just totally, we could not do that. We had to go on this other side of Sun and Lake, in land that we control, we manage. So that's what's taking us into open trench work. We couldn't do any boring. The county came back to us and said, well, if you're bored, you gotta shut it down for a month. You can't use the Sun Lake Boulevard. They just started throwing all this stuff at us that I said, stop, open trench, let's go. And that's what they're doing. So we're gonna get this thing done. We're at the corner of Columbus and Sun Lake. We're gonna cut Columbus today to get across to the district office. That'll be a shortcut from noon to 6. And we're gonna put some gravel back in there. You'll be able to use it later tonight. And then we're gonna start running up Columbus to the water plant. That's basically going to replace a massive amount of not only asbestos pipe that we need to get rid of, it's replacing, gonna be close to 1.5 miles of 12-inch and 6-inch pipe that's 50 years old. It's the original pipe from the district. And if you just pop in there and look at some of the old pipe that we're finding, as soon as it's exposed to the elements, and as soon as you try to just lift it with a hand, it shatters. And that's where all our leaks are coming from. So it's well needed, it's well deserved in time. We are right now hovering at the $300,000 mark for the work all done right now. But it's just, we just hit a lot of hurdles. We're gonna keep plugging away. I will be honest, you've all approved 400,000. I'm gonna run it till 400,000, but I would like to get an understanding that I want this to get complete to the water plant. Based on discussions with the contractor KDL, with our utility department, for us to finish, to get to the water plant, going up around the driving range, cutting into our parking lot, we're probably looking at 100,000 additional, just based on it having to be open trench work. So just full transparency, we're gonna run the clock on it till 400,000. That's probably gonna get me to the driveway entrance of our utility department. It won't connect me to the water plant. Don't need a motion, don't need approval, because it's an emergency work we're doing. I would just like you to be fully aware that once we get to that ticker, we're gonna be spending a little bit more than 400,000. Now, if you want to approve additional money now, I'll greatly accept it, but,
I think you have a consensus there that we need to do what we need to do.
You need to fix it.
yeah, we do need to fix it.
And based on what you just previously said about our financial position.
Yeah, this will come straight out of our utility revenue overages from 2023, and that's part of this budget amendment I'll show you. So this will not be an anchor onto the finances of our district at the end of this year. This will be paid for, and we won't see, there'll be a blip on the radar for 2024 money. But it will give us brand new main water lines as well as new well lines that are feeding our district.
Okay.
That's all I got on that. It's another week to 10 days to be complete. The roads will all be cut. We start resurfacing on Tuesday. So new asphalt goes down on those 4 cuts. Catalina, Sun Lake, and Columbus on Tuesday, Wednesday next week. There'll be a small shutdown of the road. And then the entirety of the project with all the tie-ins, I'm gonna worst case, it should be done in 2 weeks. But now it's all off to the side. It's not gonna impact the driving range. It's gonna be right along the cart path. We're gonna have a slight diversion on the cart path when we cut that line right there. You'll still be able to drive up Columbus to connect to the golf courses, but there'll be a small diversion there with some signage. But all this work, we open trench work going all the way up and then cutting into our driveway. That's where we stand on that.
All right,
I have a question,
Sir.
somewhat related. Do we know when water is gonna be back on at the Racquet Club?
So in my discussion just this morning with KDL, there'll be water to the cart barn and the courts this afternoon. We placed a washing station out there as well as porta johns. We should be able to remove both of those. I'm waiting for the water to get active and tested out. And then those two will be operational. And right now, other than the final connection, which would be about an hour's worth of time, we'll pick it on a weekend. There should be no more water outages to any citizens, or any businesses after we do this cut across Columbus.
all right. And you identified the holidays for the district.
Yes, we mirror to the best of our ability, there's been an assumption that we always would mirror the county for the most part. The county has strayed from that over the few years, and not only the county, other communities, resident, municipalities. We are pretty cut and dry mirroring our county offices here. The only difference is based on how, I think it was the 4th of July, right?
Correct.
4th of July hits us on a Thursday. We decided to do the Friday after that, make it a 4-day weekend. It made no sense. The county is not. The county's making everybody come back in there. We decided that didn't make any sense. We kept it that way. But other than that, we are exactly in line, and we laid this out. So this is what I'm recommending for our district holidays for 2024. We'll get them published and get them out to the citizens as well as our staffs.
You've okayed that and everything, right? And you think it's okay to close for 4 days, twice this year?
Next year, yes, sir. No, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if you.
Yeah, we're good. There'll still be community functions, recreation functions, still have security, still have some code enforcement. So the reality is every day we shut, just for your all's knowledge, it costs us departmentally about $7,000 to shut down operations for a day. That's for us to pay the person for that holiday, as well as bring on the staff for overtime for that day. The county, you shut down for a day, it costs like $50,000, $60,000.
Yeah, it was in the paper, and that's why they voted that
Yes.
day after 4th of July out,
Check.
because it cost.
Yeah, we looked at how this lays out, and it's not only takes care of our employees, but it makes sense to everyone else's calendars for that time.
Okay, any follow-up items? New business?
Well, I got some questions.
Yeah, I know.
On him.
On board for it,
I have some questions for Bob.
Okay.
Sure.
Is there an update on the lawyer?
We have two packets are being submitted. One's local, one's a Tampa firm, but the person works kind of local. Haven't seen the final, I just seen correspondence saying they're interested, they're submitting. We'll have that this month, let's say November. We'll have that in November, and I will bring to you the packets for consideration, probably November's board meeting.
Okay.
And then I don't think we need to go into any special session. I'll just present to you a recommended contract and which one you want to go with. I guess the only question I needed here is consensus on, do you all want to do any interviewing individually, or are you going to take my guidance on recommendation?
I think consensus is you.
I'll take care of it. I'll just recommend best of the best. So, okay. You'll see them all. You'll see all the presented packets. It's like we do a bid contract. You'll see all the data, where they come from, and then a recommendation, and you guys can determine at the end.
Can you also give me an update on the clubhouse, the painting of the clubhouse? Is that going to be done this year?
It is. If you look at the two cart barns on the way out of here, that's the paint. That's the new paint. The only weird thing about it, there's no trim on those buildings, so you're not seeing the full aspect of it with a darker trim. It's just pure gray paint. So they're working on those. They're going to the clubhouse, then they're going to go to the district office. So his timeline gave me by Christmas, he's done all the main buildings, and then he starts working on the smaller golf course buildings. So it's ongoing, yeah. They pressure wash, they have to be inspected by Sherwin-Williams, because we have a 25-year warranty. Then they paint, Sherwin-Williams come back and inspects. Then they do the final inspection, then they give us a warranty for 25 years. So It's a little time consuming.
Okay. In your write-up, it was, you said that the golf committee minutes were posted. I couldn't find them for the life of me.
So in your packet is the minutes from the committee meeting. We post them in the district area.
I couldn't find them. How do you get there?
Okay. Well, it's in did we pull them out separately? Or they're in the
They're
packet?
still in there right now, their agendas and minutes.
Okay. So the minutes from the meeting, we post on our website. There's been some confusion. The golf committee used to post newsletters and minutes on the golf website. And I think they got away from that, talking to the committee chair as well as Mike. They stopped doing that because all they do is they send an email out to all the members after the meeting. So they eliminated newsletters, they eliminated that stuff. So we post the only official document of their minutes on our district website, and we'll make it more, if you can't find it, we'll make it more
Yeah,
clear.
I had trouble finding it.
Okay, we'll make sure. It should be in the list of agendas and minutes. It's just listed as golf. We'll make sure.
Yeah, if somebody would just send me an email saying this is how you find it.
Okay.
That would be great. I guess we can talk about this now. On the district financials, I probably missed this last month, but I caught it this month. I noticed that we have eliminated last year's numbers. And I was wondering why.
Talking on treasurer's report?
I'm sorry?
Treasurer's report?
Yes.
Yeah, in our variance columns.
All of a sudden, last year's number, and it happened starting last month and I missed it. But I caught it this month, and I think it's kind of important that we have last year's number.
I agree.
Yeah.
Did they take it out?
Yeah, I think that in the treasurer's report, it was removed, but it's in so the treasurer's
Okay.
report has been,
We're
working
working,
on it.
gotcha. We're working with Infomark. They separated two documents. They created a treasurer's report for y'all. Then they create what they call the finance director's report, which is a 100 and some odd page document. And I think they just peeled those two away. We can get them that, those columns back in.
So the intention is to have last year's numbers there.
You should, yeah, I agree. You should see it.
Okay. That would be correct.
We'll fix that, yeah.
Yeah, I guess this is for recreational, should I go to rec only?
Well, it's under five, then.
I was just wondering, on the restriping of the basketball courts, we're also gonna move the actual post.
Yeah.
Do we have an updated timing on that?
I'm tying that to the budget amendment because just to repaint is a $15,000 expenditure. So we're not budgeted for that. So that's gonna be part of the budget amendment that I'm recommending, that we spend excess money to get that done.
As well as moving the post?
Yeah, the post we're gonna move, we're doing the move. So we'll take care of that. That's funded and approved. I need the 15,000 to paint.
Okay, so that'll be November
Yes.
when you come to us. The other question I had is on this is a weird one. I had a member come up to me and said I had a problem at the tennis courts the other day, and I said, what's the problem? And they said, well, I came with 3 other people, and they would only let me take one in. And I said, really? And they said, yeah, I mean, I'm allowed 1 guest, but there was 3 of us. And I said,
That's
oh.
actually not true. Nobody should be bringing anybody in who's not registered in our recreation office.
They were registered. They had to pay. They had to pay for their guests, is what they told me, but they were only allowed to pay for 1 guest.
Oh, so I thought you meant they weren't allowed in.
No, they were allowed in, but they had to pay, which is fine. But they wanted to play 4 people, 1 member, and they were told no.
I don't know. I can ask Sarah about that.
I mean, surely that's fixable.
Sure. Yes. You don't have any contact information, name or anything?
Actually, the guy said he called his wife, and his wife came down.
Okay, we'll get with Sarah.
But that was not the intention of the situation.
Yeah, we
So
take it.
what is the daily rate? Because that's not on any chart. I mean,
I don't even remember.
the players understand there's not a daily rate.
Huh?
The players all understand there's not a daily rate.
Yeah, we have not been giving a daily rate for the last few years.
They would charge something.
We have looked into it to start allowing the $5 like we do at the pool. Right.
Well, what did they?
So I can tell this gentleman that it's going to be, that he'll be allowed to do this, or he won't be allowed?
Well, let her investigate this a little bit for us.
So you'll let me know what I can tell him? Thank you.
I think that's right. I'm not. Yeah,
Do we allow guests in the record club?
I'm confused now.
Yeah, me
It's my understanding that in the past, they were allowed. Since I've
But
been here,
you're not
and to
charged.
my knowledge, for the last few years, we have not been allowing them. But we have had a lot of requests for that, so we are currently trying to implement that again, to allow that. But anyone that brings a guest in, they need to be registered and sign the waiver form at the recreation office.
Right.
Right, so this guy's complaint was, let's say he was the guy, and he had 3 other people. He didn't mind paying for the 3 other people, but he was told he was only allowed to pay for 1.
Okay, yeah, I'll look into that. And I'll make sure we clarify that policy.
Okay, very good. Okay, discussion 2 from the board. Motion to adjourn,
So moved.
second?
Second.
All in favor, aye? Aye.
No, we're good.
I went, I saw on Facebook, shelves thing that I didn't know
They were gonna go there anyway. Spirit Arrow.